What's good? It's me, Uncle Fred, back again. Been a couple of weeks, been gone a minute. Didn't really know how to come back to you guys after some bad losses, man. We're gonna talk all about it and tell you the state of the Cowboys, the state of where I am as a Cowboy fan, and all that kind of stuff, man. It's a lot going on, man. We're gonna talk all about it, man. Like the head, here it go.
2 times on the beat, bitch.
Again, what's going on, people? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house, back in the saddle. One more game, bunch of contact. I'm gonna catch you guys up on my opinions on all the things as it relates to the Cowboys. Since the last time we talked to you, but we're gonna do it in rapid fire fashion. Please hit that like, hit that comment, make a comment, and subscribe to the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. So I guarantee you will not be disappointed. All right, so so the last video I did was when I was talking about Jerry showed his true colors, I think, and that was right before the 49ers game. It was before the 49ers game. It was after the Detroit Lions fiasco with that, how we looked after that. And I hadn't really done a video since then. Was going, we had a week off, and then we had the 49ers game, and, out there in Santa Clara. And of course, that was a crazy game. Started off good. We actually had a lead in that game, had the lead at halftime, held them to 6 points. But in the second half, they made adjustments. We didn't. Dak threw a bad interception on his first possession in the second half. They scored another touchdown, and then we couldn't get nothing going. They scored another touchdown, and they look up NASDAQ, 20, was 30 to 10, maybe something like that. And so, what do you do? Because they got 2-point conversion, but then we started doing something. True enough, the 49ers could have really blew us out of Kyle Shanahan and get in his own feelings, get in his own bag, because they had a 3rd and 1, and they tried some crazy play that Purdy almost threw a pick on that. I want to say it was Odigazua, or was it Chauncey Ghost? It was one of them that had a chance to pick it off, and it went right through his hands. Then we got the ball back. Had they got a first down, then I think that game ended up being 30 to 10. But they didn't. We got the ball. We go down, get a touchdown, and we stop them again, get a sack, get the ball back, go down, get another touchdown using a bunch of motion, using a bunch of shifting, use bunch sets, and then we stop them again, get the ball back, and then we go back to our old stuff, with the stagnant, no motion, straight down the line, turn around, and we go 4 and out, lose the game 30-24. And I was pissed off about that game because why? We had a week off, and the report came out that the 4th or 5th play on the very first drive, we had communications problems. Dude, y'all been working on this for 2 weeks. Y'all couldn't get like through a couple of quarters without having some communication issues. So we ended up losing that game, and then you had you keep running Donovan Wilson out there, and he can't cover nobody, and Kittle was just cooking him. And as bad as their offense was, they missing everybody. Missing Brandon IU. Debo was kind of hit and miss, and we lost that game. And I still remember Debo getting matched up on Eric Kendricks running out the backfield and going down the field for like a 42-yard gain early in the game. And I thought that set the tone too, because I'm like, now why we can't set up a mismatch like that with CeeDee Lamb on the same thing? Because we kind of use him like they use Debo. But that's just me. But I thought that game, and that's why I didn't come to a video, because I was disgusted. I'm like, we had 2 weeks off, and we couldn't figure out how to stop their offense. Figure out how to, you let Brock Purdy outrush our whole team. Come on now. So we lose that game 30-24. So I'm like, okay, we're fine. Got Atlanta, going down Atlanta. And then that's when the trouble hit, because, Drico Dowdle didn't play in that game. This is what some of the stuff the problems I have with the Cowboys. It's the politics. It's the foolishness. The stuff that don't have nothing to do with football. All of a sudden, Rico Dowdle, guys, is sick. Okay? He's sick. All right? So we running Zeke. Of course, Zeke had some nice run. I think he had like a 14, 15-yard run in that game. He didn't run too bad. He had a touchdown in that game early in the game. So, but how he got that position, Rico, they activated Dalvin Cook, and Rico Dowdle was sick to the point where he couldn't play it. Yet Deebo Samuels is running around all over the field. He had pneumonia early in the week. Yet and still, Rico Dowdle is signing autographs and mingling with fans. Yeah. Okay. And then leading up to the next week, so it's more shenanigans. Now, Zeke gets in trouble because, unbeknownst to us, he been missing meetings, been late to meetings, has missed the skip meetings, been late, been doing all this other stuff. So I think it's because he's pissed off about his role. Not getting the carries. But dude, you really not good no more. We found that out in the game we just watched yesterday. And so he don't make the trip. So we go to Atlanta, and actually that game we really had a chance to win, except we did stupid stuff in that game, like, I don't know, going forward on 4th and 1 on our own like 45-yard line. I can't remember the exact yard marker, but I ain't mad with going forward on 4th down. I ain't mad about that. I'm mad that you ran a freaking jet sweep and you was trying to run that bad boy out of freaking shotgun, which I'm like, I got a problem with anyway. Maybe I'm old school, but anytime you got a short yardage situation, your quarterback should not be in shotgun, okay? Because you want to keep everybody close to the line of scrimmage so that thing can hit quick. But they call a timeout, and we ran the jet sweep, we got stopped, they go down, they get a touchdown. And, it was like that. I think it was a couple of plays. If you look on my thumbnail, it was a couple of plays in that game, I think, turned that game. I think that was that play. And then in the third quarter, they tried a fake punt, only trailing 14-10. And for what reason? Because I don't think nobody knew what you was doing on that. You was trying to throw the ball to C.J. Goodman, who's a gunner. He's not no athlete. He's a gunner on our special teams unit. Brian Ingram threw but 2 passes in his career. That didn't work. And the running around that Dak did, and we know he got his hamstring, avulsion of the hamstring, got it torn off his bone. When we end up losing that game 27-21, CD had a good game and it was okay, but I think we really could have won that game had we not had, 7 pre-snap penalties, had we not had 12 men on the field on another 4th down try, and we had 4 changes of possession, meaning failed 4th down tries. Realistically, we held Atlanta's offense in check. We could have really won that game had we had anything going on from our offense. because I think Dak threw was 18 or 24 for like 140 some odd yards, a lot of short stuff, you know, and I think that continues in the game yesterday. So we end up losing that game, and of course now after that, all the other shenanigans, we lost 3 in a row now. Detroit, San Francisco, Atlanta lost 3 in a row. We 3-5 now. Season's practically over, or so it seems. But of course, Jerry said, "No, we ain't finna sell at the trade deadline. We're buying." Like, buying what? You need to be trying to find some of these veterans that's going to leave your team that you can get some draft compensation for, like Zach Martin, like DeMarcus Lawrence, like maybe Odigazua, who you probably not paying. You know, somebody would have picked him up, but no. So what you decide to do is use a 4th-round pick and go get Jonathan Mingo, which I like Jonathan Mingo. But the kid wasn't playing for Carolina. Carolina, possibly the worst team in the NFL. He can't seem to get on the field. But you felt compelled to give him a 4. They'd have took an 8th-round pick if they had 8 rounds. They'd have took that. But you gave them a 4. No. We couldn't see doing you like that. We'll give you a 4. If it could have been an 8th-round pick, Carolina would have took that for him. But you gave them a 4th for a dude that didn't play. But in order to try to sell it, you're going to tell us, oh, we got packages for Jonathan Mingo. He's going to play. But we've been working on, but y'all can't work out no packages for Jalen Tolbert or Jalen Brooks. Or how about this? This guy's sort of a comp to Flournoy, Ryan Flournoy, right? They kind of comparable. 6'1", 6'2", about 215, 220. They're about the same dude, right? You ain't got no packages for Flournoy, but you got packages because we got to sell that to the people, so they don't know that you did something that. Now, and if you understand the Cowboys' theology, that's not exactly. I'm not exactly mad at the move from that perspective. I'm just mad that you gave up a 4th for it, okay? Because what the draft police was telling us how that it was dumb because, well, the Steelers only gave up a 4th and they got Mike Williams, and the Ravens only gave up a 5th and they got a 5th and some other stuff, and they got Deontay Johnson, who was the starter on that team that Jonathan Mingo couldn't get on the field for, right? And then of course Kansas City didn't give up a 4th to get DeAndre Hopkins, all of which are better receivers than Jonathan Mingo. But it's just one thing that y'all don't get, and y'all should know y'all team by now. Cowboys are allergic to spending money. Okay, unless it's for their own guys. Yeah, they'll overpay for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Not that they overpay. I'm just saying they don't mind finding the money for that, but they're not going to find money for guys outside the organization. That's a pattern of theirs, and you do well to understand your team and don't be upset when they don't do the things that you think they're going to do. Understand their patterns, okay? The reason they did that for Jonathan Mingo is, number one, he's 22. And he's the prototypical size of the receivers that we like. We don't do the small, the little Smurf receiver thing. We don't do that. That's why we can't seem to figure out what to do with Cavante Turpin and Brandon Cooks. We can't figure out what to do with them guys, right? We like the 6'1", 6'2", 200 and something pound dudes. We don't like 5'8", 185. We don't do that. Well, 5'7", 150 in the case of Cavante Turpin. He going back to the 49ers game, he had a chance to extend that game basically it was the same pass that Dak threw the interception on early, the same route where Cavante Turpin went down the sideline, but we didn't run nothing to keep the safety out the middle of the field. So he was able to come over and intercept the ball on the first play and knock that one away on that one. But you're running 5'7" Cavante Turpin along the sideline on essentially a 50-50 ball, but Dak dropped that thing right in there, though. That ball, he couldn't have handed it to him no perfectly good at that. But that's not a play for Cavante Turpin. That should have been for like Tolbert or CeeDee Lamb or somebody big that can go up and challenge for the football. Them guys basically this big boy Turpin. They get down, you little munchkin. They basically did that to him. But anyway, what I'm saying is we don't do well with small receivers. So Mingo fits that bill. He's young, he's big and athletic, and we liked him last year in the draft because he was one of the Cowboys' 30 visits, right? And so that's why they did that. And then I forgot the most important part. Oh, he's due to make 1.3 million this year, 1.3 million next year, and 1.3 million in 2026. They control that salary for 3 years. And they're looking at that like, oh, if we would have had a fourth round pick, we'd have probably picked a guy like him. That's why they did that. Okay. He's cheap, he's young, he got upside, and he's big, so they made it. I gave him a fourth. I gave him a seventh. And you'll take it or leave it. And I keep my draft picks. All 10 of them, 11 of them, right? So that happened in the interim, and so we get ready for the Eagles game, and then there's some stuff going on with Mike McCarthy. He knows he's a dead man walking. He know he on his way to the gas chamber. He on his way to the electric chair. We already know. So with the press conference, he was saying, "Well, if I had my brother, I like my guys in early, like in April and May." Saying basically the Cowboys wasted time and they could have had putting continuity together and whatnot. So basically throwing them under the bus. I'm gonna talk about that later too, because the way that the Cowboys have ran with this whole season, how they chose to do certain things, is kind of eroded and become this thing that it's become now. It's all about choice. It didn't happen organically. They chose this particular line or way of doing things. So that happened, and then of course here comes the Eagles game. And really, I didn't really, I talked about those other games because those games were a little more compelling than this game, because this game wasn't compelling at all, other than the fact that, because we know Dak's out for the season because he went today and had an opinion, which he's going to have the surgery. I mean, he could not have the surgery and let it heal on its own, let it scar over, and he could be back in 6 to 8 weeks. And by that time, what will be 3-10? 3-11, whatever, man. Why don't you come back, right? And so we know Cooper Rush is starting. Now, me, I would have started Trey Lance, because why? You know what Cooper Rush does. He not gonna show me nothing different. Trey Lance, I don't know about, but neither one of them are nobody great, and we saw that on yesterday. Look, man, game started off okay, except on the fourth play there was a Cooper Rush fumble. They got the ball, and I think they go 30 yards, get a touchdown, and 7-0, just like that. But we come right back down the field. And Rico Dowdle's running the ball, pretty good. I mean, shoot, I think he's like 11 carries for like 45 yards or something like that. I thought he did pretty good. Yeah, I thought he did pretty good actually. Yeah, Rico Dowdle was 12 carries for 53 yards, had a long of 19. And we didn't do bad. We actually rushed for like 97 yards on like 22 carries. That's over 4 yards a carry. In case shoot, we get 4 yards a carry, boy, we having a party, right? Here's the problem. Problem is, we average more yards running the ball than we did throwing the ball. No, I didn't stutter. I said what I said. We averaged more yards running the ball than we did throwing the ball. Because Cooper Rush, let me give you his stat line. Cooper Rush was, I think, 15 out of 23 for, here we go. Slide down, dude. Slide down. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Cooper Rush was 13 out of 23. I think I was right. I was say 25. 13 out of 25, 23 for 45 yards. No, that ain't a typo. 13 for 23. I had to make sure I wasn't seeing something myself. For 45 yards, which is essentially, I don't know, 2.1 yard per attempt, 3.3 yards per completion. Are you freaking kidding me? Look, man, I know we had some chances early because we went down, it was 7-3. We got a defense played good enough early in the game because I mean they sacked out Jalen Hurts like 5 times, right? Made him intercepted. Trayvon Diggs had a beautiful interception on the end zone. That would have been a touchdown too. It would have been 40-6 or whatever, 41-6 or whatever the case might be. But he made a beautiful diving interception, man, to stop a scoring drive. And I'm like, all right, Trayvon looking how he's supposed to look. Micah looking back at Micah's first game back too. And he had 2 sacks and a forced fumble. Okay, and they end up getting the ball back. Goes down, and they got a chance to go ahead in the game, and they got first and goal from the 5, and they bring Ezekiel Elliott in, breaks the initial tackle, and gets to about the 2-yard line, and then the ball comes out and it gets recovered by Cooper DeJean. Problem is Cooper DeJean plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, Zeke. You got yourself in trouble, didn't make the trip, and then they gave you didn't play at all, and then you come in and they give you the ball on the goal line, and you fumble. Now, if that's me, you're not playing no more today. You can give me your helmet, but then they had the Cowboys out, right? Because about 4 plays later, they Jalen Hurts again, fumble the ball, and get the ball right back. They get down in the red, and very soon the first time they get the ball, who they hand the ball to, they get the ball back to Ezekiel. There's no accountability on this team because he wouldn't carry the ball no more for me. Because apparently, you was whoever you were to get suspended for a game or not make the trip for a game, whatever the case might have been. And then the first time you touch the ball in the game back then, you fumble the ball out the end zone, and I'm gonna get a ball right back to you. No, man. No, no. But in Jerry's world, that's okay, because that's one of Jerry's dudes. Okay. But I'm not. But if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm getting fired at the end of the year anyway. That dummy, sit your butt down. I'm not, you're not playing no more today. But to get a ball back to him. So we get down inside the 5-yard line, 10-yard line again. And apparently CD loses the ball in the sun. CD Cooper rushed through it slightly behind him, but it hit his hands, and the whole sun ray thing comes up. And then, of course, the next play we run a play to Rico Dowdle, and it gets stopped behind the line of scrimmage. So I'm like, why did they run that play? We have to take another field goal. So it's 7-6. And of course, they get a touchdown coming right back. But see, Zeke don't fumble. Maybe we're ahead by a touchdown or so, But it's what it is, man. It's what it is. So we've already got two turnovers. And but yeah, getting back to the sunlight thing, because apparently, I've delved more into it this week. I know I've been knowing about it for years, but apparently I didn't know this was a thing. Shout out to Jeff Kavanaugh. If you haven't followed him, you follow DLL Dallas. They got a nice podcast with Aisha Morris and Clarence Hill and Jesse Holly. Used to play for the Cowboys. They got a nice podcast. But anyway, according to Jeff Kavanaugh, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently when teams build their stadiums, they tend to build them to go east and west. The long way to be, north and south. The long way to be north and south. Reason being so the sun doesn't come directly into the eyes of the players. If you have to have sun, it goes east to west. It goes across the stadium instead of the lengthwise of the thing. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a, hey man, I'm 50 something years old. And I didn't never know that, but okay, apparently so. But apparently they told Jerry that. He's like, I don't give a daggum. I want to turn this way because I want everybody to see this thing from miles away. and they won't be able to see if you turn it edgewise. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know that's to be true. This is what I've heard, right? So they built it. Now it's a dome, but it's got windows in the north end. I mean the east end, right? Or the east west end, and they have curtains. And people say, "Won't you get curtains?" They have curtains because they close them for events, concerts, and things of that nature. But they open them for football games, not because it does anything, but because it's picturesque when they show the camera shots from the broadcast view. You see the sunlight that's gleaming in. That's so whatever, but it's in your player's eyes. Now I'm not making no excuse about it because I believe that Detroit game Dak threw an interception because he couldn't see because the sun was because it was in my eyes and they showed the thing from behind him. So it's an issue. So what I'm saying is maybe you run your routes, away from where that is, or maybe you take the ball going the other direction so you're not facing the sun when you at that time of the day. I don't know, but my point is that because it's more important for you to get a good shot and that to look good on camera, it's more important than making sure your players, have an advantage. You rather create a disadvantage for your players rather than and don't get me wrong, it's not a big issue, but it's just a microcosm of all the other things that maybe winning football games ain't the most important thing for the people that run the Cowboys. Maybe notoriety, maybe clicks and follows and all that stuff. Maybe those things weigh as much or maybe even more than winning. But anyway, we had those things going. So the second half comes, and I want to tell you something. That was a stretch in the second half. We get ready to, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to go ahead and close the video out. There was a series or two in the second half when I just shook my head and looked, what the heck is my team doing? First of all, this is after I think the Eagles came, and because it was 14-6, they came down, scored, made it 21-6, and we get the ball. And I said, okay, we're down 15. And I promise you, on a two possession series, they never threw the ball past 1 yard or past the yard line of scrimmage. They ran the play to Darwin. He got like a yard, maybe less than one. Then they threw two passes at the line of scrimmage that got tackled immediately. So basically, Cooper Rush was thrown two passes for basically 2 yards on two plays, and we punt. They go down and get another touchdown. It's 28-6. You know. Then they bring in they run a play and they bring in Trey Lance. I'm like, well, finally, the game ain't gonna be one match. We'll bring Trey Lance in. He comes in, he runs a play. There's a penalty. They end up running the play, he gets sacked, and then there's a running play. Then there's an incompletion. Then they take him out and they bring Cooper Rush back in for the third and long to throw it deep into nobody. So what did you bring him in for? And then it was so bad that Cooper Rush was going onto the field and they had to call him back. No. This is his. Okay. Like they didn't even talk to him about that. We're in such disarray, man. You know, we're an organized mess, an unorganized mess, right? And so finally, when they did put Trey Lance in the game, he had ran a couple of plays. But see, you would think that we would have a good sense to tailor make the offense for what Trey Lance does. He's like for instance, if what was it, a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when the Baltimore Ravens had Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, you can't run the same offense with them two dudes, right? You do understand that because their skill sets are totally different. You'd be like forcing a square peg into a round hole, right? So you do know Cooper Rush is a straight drop back passer, right? And you know that Trey Lance is like a dual threat mobile quarterback that if he could tuck it and run it, he could. He could play running back if he wanted to. You do know that, right? So you can't run the same plays for him and get the best out of him. You know that, right? You know that, right, Mike? Right? You know that, right? Well, apparently he did know that because on one of these plays he threw a deep one. I think it was to Jalen Tolbert. Didn't look the safety off or anything. He threw that thing right to C.J. Gardner Johnson. I mean, Dad, look over this way and then come back. He don't even have the wherewithal. What are you teaching him in these practices? You know. But I've never once thought that we were a well coached team, even when we had good teams or anything. So yeah, so the offensive and the people was booing on those series I was talking about because basically they said you really not even trying. You're just out there. We got to get these plays run. Let's just go. And I saw the face, and they showed the face of the people. And there's Tony Romo trying to make it sound. I was interested. That game was on CBS, whatever. Um, but yeah, that was just interesting to me that they did that, and you saw the look of the faces of the people, and I'm like, see, that's what makes me mad because here you got a team that's really not even trying right at this point. When you saw those plays, I'm like, man, they ain't even trying to win. They're not even attacking the ball downfield. They're throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage and like they're playing to punt the football. Jeff Kavanaugh said, man, at this point, why don't you just punt on first down and save us the time, right? You're not even trying, okay? I know we're in this mode about, oh, we're trying to lose, but damn, at least try to win. At least try. At least put effort. And you see the looks of those people's faces, and you're like, I bet you these people pay like $1,000 for these tickets, and they're getting like fourth rate. They're getting high school level football. At this point in the game, especially offensively. Defensively, by this time they took some people out and stuff like that. Michael's on a snap count. You knew that and all that kind of stuff. You know that Trayvon Diggs is also on a snap. You got the Devarion Overshawn hurt, but I think he ends up being okay. I think he bounced back. But at this point, it's 28-6. You know you're not winning the game. You're not gonna score 28 points if the Eagles left the field and left you to your own devices for a quarter. You ain't scoring 28. Okay, and um, so yeah, and so I'm like, man, and see, to me, if you gonna run that kind of stuff out there, man, you got to get the people a break on the prices for these tickets and stuff. Man, you ain't paying $60, $70, $50, $40, whatever, the park or whatever, and you watching this crap, you know. So the Eagles win 34-6 is the final score. So which means the last two times we played in the AT&T Stadium, we've not even scored a touchdown. We were beaten 47-6 by the Lions and 34-6 by the Eagles. And each one we didn't score a touchdown. Each one we turned the ball over inside the red zone. We turned the ball over 5 times yesterday. And, two fumbles by Cooper Rush, fumble by Zeke Elliott, and the last fumble and an interception, a fumble. The fumble that Cooper Rush had late in the game was interesting because Terrence Steele gave up the pressure, which of course he did because that's what he does. He needs to be a June 1st cut. I think we're done with him, but then the ball's just bouncing around, and he's trying to pick it up and run with it. And then Hunter Lippy's there, and he gets his leg tangled up with his, and they're basically like Keystone Cops or Bad News Bears, and what Tony Romo was saying. It's just an indication of where the Cowboys season had gotten to, how goofy they looked on that play, you know. And then the next possession, the second possession after Trey Lance goes there, of course he throws the interception. The next one he throws a flare pass out in the right flat to uh, Jake Ferguson. I thought it was an incomplete pass. Caught it, looked like he turned, but I didn't think he got feet down. The ball come out and it got fumble recovered, and then they ran into Dak on the sideline. So nothing good happened for that game. I think we ended up with like 150 some odd yards of offense, 49 yards passing, and like 97 yards rushing. I think we had like 7 first downs or something like that. Like I said, a game we weren't even trying, and that's what bothers me. So when I start looking at this and we look at the state of the Cowboys, and of course now the Cowboys chose to do this. They wanted to do this. They chose to punt on this season. Okay. And the reason I got issues with that is because you got to look at this thing in proper context. I look at it from the standpoint of the Cowboys. I mean, you could look at it and say, okay, were they Super Bowl contenders? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, but you were in the playoffs every season. Okay. You won 12 games 3 years in a row. Nobody else in the league has done that. Right? And not that you live to win regular season games, but still, you winning games. You're competitive. You're winning. You made yourself one of the 4, 5, 6 best teams in the league. And what you do if you're a smart organization, you do an honest evaluation. Where are we good? Where do we need help? You make those changes. And if you know the Cowboys, what could we not do? Even though we were 12-5 last year, 12-5 the year before, what could we not do last year? We could not, number one, run the football. Okay. Number two, stop the run. So what you do in the offseason, okay. First of all, I would have broke off Mike Solari. That's what I would have done because it seems like our offensive line has regressed under him. I would have hired me an offensive line coach that, got a little pizzazz to him. Got a little, look at some of these other teams and look at that. Quit picking from the Cowboys tree. Go get some of these coaches from some of these other teams that are doing things, And then I would have drafted a running back in the third. Oh no, that's right. You couldn't draft one in the fourth round because your fourth round pick is on the clipboard. But I would have got me a running back, okay, and I wouldn't have brought back Zeke. I would have made sure Rico Dowdle was running back one or running back one, whatever. Drafted me one and would have rolled with that, But they didn't do any of that. Okay, see that would have satisfied running the football, right? Get you a good offensive line coach and draft you a running back, right? Braylon Allen was out there, right? He was available. Okay. Trey Benson was available. You could have got him, right? Like he went in like the third round, but you went for Maris Leofow or Cooper Beebe or whatever. You went for those guys, which I'm not mad at those picks, but those, And so I think you might have could have got Maris Leofow later, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. And I think Marshawn Nealon. I think you could have waited later and got him. I don't think he was going to go to. A lot of people weren't even aware of him like that, because people like pass rushing defensive linemen, not, but anyhow. And then on defense, I'm like, look, let's go find one of these dudes on one of these other teams as a free agent and shore up our run defense. Okay? That's what you do. But instead of doing that, they're like, we're going to let 10 players walk and we replace them with a bunch of rookies. Every veteran that's on our team, whether it's Gilmore, whether it's Hankins, let them walk. Okay? So basically, you chose to get out of line. You're in line with the Chiefs, the Lions, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Bills, all those guys in line for the Lombardi. You're in line with those guys. So you decide to, you know what, man, I don't value being in this position. I'm gonna get out of line and let somebody else out of my place. And I think the Commanders took your place. So you gave your position to the Commander, hated Commanders. So they're in the position you would have been in had you just addressed your needs, right? To me, you know what that's like? That's like you are a stockbroker in a firm and you're doing well, but you're not the best stockbroker in the house, right? But you're pretty good. Your earnings are good. You're 6 figures. You're doing okay. But you got envy of all the other guys in there, right? And so instead of like figuring out what they do and going back to school, taking a class, maybe picking their brains or what they do, maybe you can get your lead count up or whatever, you decide to bump it. I'm just gonna quit. I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to live out of my car. And the guy that was sweeping floors got your job now. That's the Commanders. They got your job now and living it up. But you eating out your car, living out your car. The Cowboys chose to do this. Nobody made them do this. This was not organic. This was something they decided to do. They decided to pull the plug on the team. They decided to do that. So I don't feel bad for them. You decided to do it. It's not like the Cowboys had like 7 or 8 aging like star players that was like, okay, we got to replace them. We'll basically start over. No, you didn't do that because we were the 4th youngest team in the NFL last year. We still are. We're younger than that now. But no, you didn't do that. You chose to do that. Okay. So, and we got fundamental issues. It ain't something that I think we can go and draft a bunch of young players to fix. We got fundamental problems. We can't get snaps right. We can't uh we can't stop jumping off sides. We can't stop false starting on key downs. We don't realize we got 12 men on the field. We're just an unorganized mess. And I know people think, oh, if you get rid of Mike McCarthy, yeah, but it was the same thing with Jason Garrett. It was the same thing with Wade Phillips. Okay? It was the same thing. Because we got a culture of allowance, a culture of entitlement. All right? And then you had this lame duck. You should have fired Mike McCarthy after last year, after what happened at Green Bay. But you didn't want to fire him because you would have had to pay him $4 million. Jerry got $4 million in his stock, in the crepe of his stock, right? Because he's like the 25th or 26th highest paid coach in the league. Andy Reid makes $20 million. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. Go look up the salaries of NFL coaches. Mike McCarthy is down there at the bottom, right above Raheem Morris, this is really his first head coaching job. There's a couple other guys that are down there. Okay, he's down there with a Super Bowl trophy in his pocket. He's making $4 million a year. Okay, with a Super Bowl trophy in his pocket. Now, according to James Slater, it's because Jerry don't really value coaches. That's why he don't really pay coaches. He don't think about coaches. He think coaches is like, I'll just throw a guy out there. That's fine. Which is why we always seem like the least prepared team in the league. Least prepared team when we match up against good teams. Don't they always look like they're more prepared than us? They kind of know what their assignment is better than we do. Anywho, but yeah, the whole lame duck thing, because now it's starting to make us, because I told you Mike McCarthy was throwing the front office under the bus before before the Eagles game, talking about, I like to have my players in and get the work in, and people can get continuity. Basically saying you should get your stars in early, but Jerry like to make an entrance. He likes to make everything noteworthy. So I'm gonna sign my quarterback on the opening day of the season instead of and CD Lamb right at the end of preseason. So he don't get any of the preseason reps. He don't get any of that. Any of the preseason, none of the preseason, none of the off season work. He don't get any of that. All right. So it meant more to him to make that statement than make sure the team had continuity, right? Meanwhile, you taking 60% of the players away from the team and replaced them with a bunch of young players. This team was set up to fail. Mike McCarthy was set up to fail. And I'm not crying for Mike McCarthy, right? But he threw the front office under the bus, okay? And when the issue came out, why we don't run more motion, run a more modern offense, the Cowboys have the widest splits of any team in the NFL? Split, meaning like the spread of your offense from wide receiver on the play side to the weak side to the other side. It's like 30 some odd yards. Teams running now more condensed formations, which creates confusion and traffic when you're running your routes. That's why we always get caught up in bunch sets and stuff like that. That stuff kind of works, okay? But when it was talked to Schottenheimer, he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, the bunch sets and the multiple formation. That's the way to go." He's letting you know right now. It ain't me that's calling this stuff. That's Mike. If it were me calling plays and letting folks know that, because he know he getting fired after this year too, if we get him a job, yeah, I'm with the modern offense. I know how to call butt sets. I know how to run, multiple formations and that sort of stuff, and run pre-snap, post-snap, at-snap motion, and all that kind of stuff. Know how to line people up in the backfield and motion them out and all that. I know how to do all that stuff. So he's throwing Mike McCarthy under the bus, really, essentially. Mike McCarthy's throwing the front office under the bus, right? After the game, you hear Micah talking about, does he feel bad about, what's going to happen to Micah? He's basically saying, like, hey, I feel worse for guys like Zach Martin and, DeMarcus Lawrence. And it was another player he mentioned. He said, because guys has put in way more work than Mike's put in. I'm like, yeah, he's throwing stuff at Mike McCarthy, too. I know what he meant. He meant he felt worse for the old heads than he did for a coach who's going to be able to get another job. But I'm looking at how his offense is looking these last 3 days. Newsflash: Mike ain't getting no more jobs. I promise you. His offense is abysmal. I don't know if I spelled that right in the crawl you see going on. Our offense is abysmal. He ain't getting no jobs, right? And to me, if I knew I'm getting fired anyway, boy, I'd be so maverick. I'd be so rogue if it were me, and I know I'm getting fired anyway. And you gonna make me come on to work anyway? Oh, I'm gonna run what the heck I want to run. I still a player. I don't give a daggum. Tell Jerry, what he gonna do? Fire me? You gotta pay me. So Mike losing a lot with me with it, he ain't got no quinones now to me. So it's whatever, man. But yeah. So what it is essentially was doing, we eating our young now. That's what this lame duck thing has done now. It's become a finger pointing, throwing under the bus session now. That's what it's become. Okay, Micah said something like, "Man, if the offense had kind of like helped us out a little bit, we throw the offense under. We're starting to eat our young now." Okay, this is a situation in a situation that Jerry created when they made the conscious decision to bring Mike McCarthy back on a lame duck status, all the coaching staff back on a lame duck status. Have about 30 players on 1-year contract. They're on lame duck status. And everybody knows. So now, when the season seems to have got away from us, now everybody's eating themselves. We're cannibalizing ourselves now. It's Jerry's fault because he made this happen. He allowed this to happen. Okay, and I don't know that we fix this. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you as we close the video. I don't know that if we fix this. I don't know that we got 10 draft picks this year. Okay. Everybody said, let's tank. Let's go get Travis Hunter. You better go get Mason Graham from Michigan. That's who you better get. I know Michigan's a bad word to Cowboy folks because of Taco Charlton, Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker, right? But you got Jordan Lewis and Aiden Hutchinson ain't a bad dude either. David Ajabo not bad either. Michigan put some good dudes out there. Nico Collins is a Michigan dude also. Okay, don't let them dudes mess you up. Go get you Mason Graham, 6'3", 330 pounds, up the field, make tackles, big time, run stuffer, and an all around defensive lineman. Because that's what we're gonna need. We can go get Travis Hunter if you want to, old man McMillan from Arizona. We need wide receiver. If we don't get the middle of our lines fixed, both defensively and offensively, because Zach Martin is on his way out. Okay, so somebody is gonna, and TJ Bass ain't the answer. We gotta get us a guard to match up with Tyler Smith on the other side. Because that's essential. Because we can't block. It don't matter who you got as quarterback. Don't matter who you got at wide receiver or running back. If your lines are terrible, it don't matter who you got at cornerbacks and safety. If your defensive line sucks, Because what it does, now you got to compromise your linebackers and safeties to stop the run that makes your secondary and one-on-one coverage all day because you got to gamble. Because the defensive line can't hold their water. How many times you look up and see Mozzie Smith start out in the A gap over the center, end up in C gap? If you're lucky. And if you're not lucky, he on his back like a beetle. Okay? Him, Linval Joseph, and Jordan Phillips, who got cut. Whatever. But unless you, and my problem is this, you're starting over. And you taking a fourth round pick for Jonathan Mingo lets me know you don't have the wherewithal or the intelligence to build a team properly. They could give you 15 draft picks and you pick the wrong player. Because you know what smart teams would do? They would take about 4 or 5 of them picks and pick players, take the other 5 of them picks, package them to go get some players. Or to move up to get, take them 2, 3, 5th round picks you got and go back and get in the 4th round and get you a player or two. That's what I would have done. That's what Howie Roseman would have done. That's what Brett Veach would do. Okay. That's what John Lynch would do. Okay. But just Jerry. Yeah, he don't always do everything got an ulterior motive, everything because he always trying to carry the other thing to the road. When I was growing up, we lived in a house that was up on the hill, about, maybe, a tenth of a mile off the road and whatnot. So when we was cutting down limbs and stuff and doing like, stuff in the summertime, we was cutting down brush and stuff. We had to go haul stuff to the road, and, you had to haul it by hand, grab you a couple of those stalks by the handle, by the end and drag them down to the road. Well, you get in trouble trying to drag too many things down to the road. So you end up losing half the stuff you was trying to grab because you trying to carry too much. And I was a little boy. I didn't know. So to me, Jerry be trying to drag too many things, to prominence. You see, and now the Cowboys' the problem is that the Cowboys are no longer interesting because they're not winning games. They're not even competitive in the games, right? They're fixing to start flexing us to 12 o'clock games. I know we play on Monday night, this coming Monday night against the Texans, right? But I guarantee you from game 11, 13, 14, 15, they're going to start flexing us to 12 o'clock. And that's going to make Jerry livid, okay? That's going to make Jerry livid, okay? And because more so than he wants to win games, he wants to be notable. He wants to be talked about. He wants to be seen. He wants to be, engaged. He wants to engage with the people. So if you just concentrate on carrying the main thing to the road and not trying to carry 15 other things, knowing only you ain't got 2 hands, maybe the thing that's the most important would get down to the road. If you see where I'm going with that. But he trying to carry pageantry and all this other stuff and marketing that prominence. He's trying to drag all that to the road, along with if I got any energy left, let's make a good football move. No, dude, make the football first. And if you don't get to the other stuff, fine. Let that stuff do its thing. Because you know what, Jerry, if you win football games, the Cowboys are such a big brand. You really they're a self motivating sale. You don't have to do this other stuff if you just win games. If you just concentrate, just drag the big stalks to the road. Don't worry about the little ones. Just drag the big ones to the road. I guarantee you, we'll get this brush clear. I promise you. So the Cowboys are becoming sort of like irrelevant. I've seen a couple things on that aside from talking about what's going on with Dak. They don't really talk about the Cowboys because it's like we're not interested. We're not a good team. We're just not good. We can't run the ball. Our offense is like watching paint dry. We're inept. We're not good. And I'm a Cowboy fan and it pains me to say that. We've embarrassed ourselves, right? With how we're playing. And I know we're playing for a pick. Well, fine. We'll get all them old players out there and just play the young dudes, right? And let's just know what you're doing, you know. But I think that's not fair to the fans that's paying top dollar. And you watching Keystone Cops football. It's not fair. Okay? It's just not fair. But anyway, man, Anything else? I don't know anything else that needs to be said about these Cowboys. Um, so let's see, is there any? Let's see here. All right, let's try to see if I saw chats. I don't see any chats. So, but anywho, I was hoping that I had some sort of engagement because I hate talking to myself because that's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm talking to myself, and I had this stuff stored up for about 2 weeks because I really couldn't bring myself to make no. And plus, I got equipment stuff that I got to replace because I'm using the camera that's on my laptop. I got to buy a camera. It's probably gonna cost probably a couple hundred, $200-300, and that's like a you know um, I'm right now, I'm at a level where I'm not monetized for this stuff. So, anything I'm doing and whatever is coming out of my pocket, this is a hobby for me, because I love talking about the Cowboys and I have a forum to do so. So I utilize it. But when things, break down and I gotta, spend money, then you start looking at it like, gee, do you really want to spend money like that? Because the Cowboys have obviously not trying. Watch the week. I say that to the fans, and you're spending money for all this memorabilia and paraphernalia and stuff, and spending $2,000-3,000 to go to the games and stuff like that, and they're not really trying to give you a good product. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not telling you not to be a Cowboy fan because I'm gonna always be one until they throw dirt on me. I'm gonna be one, but I ain't gotta like what they do. It's just like our children. You love them, but you might not like what they do. You might not like how they carry themselves. You might not like maybe some of the things that they've decided to do, but you still love them. So I'm gonna love the Cowboys as long as until they throw dirt on me, like I just said. But I don't have to agree with everything they do. And this is a time. The Cowboys have not won a home game. We're halfway through the season. Okay, they've not even been close in a home game. Right? Maybe I'm the only one that's upset about that. Because some of the other content people are like, man, like, no, I'm upset because I can't stand it when you're not even trying. And then I'm seeing Micah and Diggs on the sideline yucking it up. But I see Carl Lawson because he don't know if he gonna make the team next year. He don't know. He playing for his life. Carl Lawson's been playing well for us at edge rusher, right? But Micah and CD, they ain't going nowhere. And Diggs, they ain't going nowhere. They're gonna be here. So they up there yucking it up like this is funny. Ain't nothing funny about this. Ain't nothing funny about this. Getting embarrassed by the Eagles. Ain't nothing funny about that. I'd rather almost get my arm cut off and lose to the Eagles. Lose no daggum Eagles. I hate them. Losing to them. And they up there yucking it up. That just bothersome to me. But anyway, man, that's pretty much everything here. Trying to see the other. But yeah, we got a 4-game losing streak now. 4. I can't remember the last time we had a 4-game losing streak. It's bothersome, and I know it's like, well, we'll get a draft pick, yeah, but you trust those two guys. Number one, to hire the right coach because they're gonna try to hire some has-been retread. They may try to get a job to Kellen Moore. If the Eagles do well, they'll try to get the thing to him, who's got maybe 2 years of offensive coordinator experience. They'll try to hire Bill Belichick, who's 73, 74 years old by the time he takes over the job. Okay. I know he knows what he's doing. The team will probably be more disciplined, but he's old school. I like old school, but we're in a new NFL now. Okay. And last time I checked, when he tried to put an offense together, he had Joe Judge and Matt Patricia calling plays. Okay. And no, I don't want you hiring them kind of dudes to run your offense. Okay, that's why Mac Jones regressed the way he did, right, in his second year. The smart thing would go write a check to Ben Johnson. Hey, put your number, whatever you want on it. We'll turn it over to you. Call what you want to call. Install what you want to call. What type of receivers and running backs do you want? We're getting them for you. We're tired of running this thing. We just turn it over to you. But that would be too much like right. That would be too smart to hire Ben Johnson or hire Zach Robinson from the Rams. Maybe not give him as much of a check as you would give Ben Johnson, but give him definitely more than $4 million. Somebody like that. Hire one of those dudes, right? No, they won't do nothing like that. They'll hire somebody that's distressed coach that's looking for a job, that's desperate for a job because they're desperate. They'll do whatever Jerry tell them to do, and that's where we're at. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Just checking again and make sure because I can't see my chat on here. I was making sure that nobody's sick. Because I know a couple times I had chats that people sent. I saw it on the actual YouTube on my phone that they had messages, and I didn't see any of them. So I'm not seeing them now. And I'm going back and going back. I don't see any of them. So. But anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next video. I might come back tomorrow and say some more stuff, whatever. We'll see. But I might start turning this into draft watch now. What kind of players you think we need to draft? And I never thought I'd be doing that before Thanksgiving. But hence is where we're at right now. Anyway, catch you guys on the next video.